Well, good afternoon, everyone. Carrie back here with Homeschool Coffee Break. My company is actually How to Homeschool My Child, and we have been running Homeschool Superheroes Week all week. This is our conclusion. This is our special live class. Some of you that are on my list, we've invited to join us just for this special live class. And so I am actually really excited about it. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And I think too often homeschool moms get so overwhelmed they don't even know what to do because there's just so many decisions. Hopefully, we can get rid of all the extra stuff and you can focus on what is most important as well. Just looking at the clock and making sure. This is here to help you gain confidence with a proven plan and start school right in 2025. If you're ready, give me a yes in the chat. And we are going to get started. Once I get the mouse over there too. There we go. All right. Can you relate? Think about this. Do you wonder if you're doing enough or if you're doing the right activities? Do you wish you could look into the future and know for sure your kids are being okay? You take those glasses, you put them on, and they're the future lenses, and you know what you're doing is going to be the right thing. Do you wonder how to help your kids make wise decisions and just not follow the crowd, which is really hard in this world of social media? Are you hoping to change your kids' complaining attitude into enjoying learning? Well, you are in the right place. If you have not grabbed the handout is, let's see if I can get this mouse back and put it there in case you don't see it. And there we go. We got some people from Canada. All right, that's the handout. Download that. You can follow along with us. Now, today, what I am going to do is show you how you can go from feeling tired, exhausted, overwhelmed about doing enough in your homeschool. And we're going to gain some confidence so you can really start your year right, not just finish it by following a proven plan. Focus on fun, lifetime learning so you can start school right this year. The other thing we want to do is give you some peace and confidence because we don't need you worrying about everything. We want you to be able to offer your kids the best education possible, and you could raise your kids to think critically and make wise decisions as well. You're going to discover the major shift. Get my notes out here. The major shift that moms need to make to go beyond the conveyor belt. We're going to talk what I mean. What do I mean by conveyor belt? Um, and give your kids the ability to influence others for Jesus Christ. The number one activity for moms to build in their homeschool year after year. This can carry your kids through life, giving them a foundation to influence others for Jesus and lead your family in the future. And this is where to start if you have young kids. We're going to talk about the easiest way to inspire a love of learning. This is so easy, it barely even takes any thinking or planning. How to become an effective mentor to your kids, and just some tips and tricks, and where you are in the mentoring calendar or mentoring schedule. What is the most important thing in your homeschool? Most important thing, more important than checking off that to-do list. And we're going to sort of go to the Bible for that as well. And especially, how do we start right and develop critical thinking skills? This can be used in any subject area whatsoever, and your kids learn to think and make wise decisions. Again, there's that handout link if you haven't gotten it yet. I am going to be giving some random winner comments. This is my don't worry prayers. These are prayers you can pray for your family. Um, Pray for your family because some of you do get worried. And so we want to get rid of that worry. How do you enter to win this booklet? All you need to do is leave a comment in the chat. And off and on through the session today, I'll be giving away a few of these Don't Worry prayer books. So just keep leaving comments, and I know some of you have already started as well. Now, we're going to try to get rid of distractions. I know if you're listening on your cell phone, you can't turn your cell phone off. But if you're on your laptop or something else, take that thing and put it on silent, shut down all the extra windows on your computer, close any extra devices that you are not using so
Hello.
you can
Hello.
focus.
You
Even
manage to
shut
call
the
every time
door.
I'm away from.
I don't know why it's supposed to mute everyone when when everyone comes in. So I don't know what the problem is. Shut the door if you can, but I know you got kids, so that may not be possible. Again, there's the handout, howtohomeschoolmychild.com/start handout. So we are going to dive right into mentoring and modeling, which is what I said we're going to talk about. Let's talk about 3 levels of mentoring. And then we're going to tie it in later with your growth, your personal growth plan as well. So let's talk about modeling. Modeling is when we are doing most of the work. We are nurturing our kids along the way. I have a baking a cookie thing here because usually you're doing the baking, you're mixing everything up, and young kids, they may throw the sprinkles on or they may add the chocolate chips or whatever. So you are modeling, and it's not just cookies. It could be you're modeling all day long. Let's be honest. Do you say please and thank you? Do you say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, if that's something important to you? So I will tell you, I've modeled the wrong things sometimes. I can tell you a story that this was back when we were first married, and Steve was saying, Carrie, quit rolling your eyes at me. And I was like, I'm not rolling your eyes at you. And then when we had this discussion, we disagreed. Well, 2 weeks later, we were sitting at the kitchen lunch table, and I asked Ashley to do something, and she rolled her eyes at me. And I was like, oh, no, Steve is right. I didn't teach her to do that. I was just modeling that. That was a bad thing to do. You don't want to do that. So I had to apologize to Ashley and say, you and I are going to work on this together. And then I had to go apologize to Steve and say, okay, you're right. I need to work on this. Help me with this problem. So modeling is where you're doing most of the work. Then we have teaching and equipping. This is a lot of what we think about when it comes to homeschooling. We're teaching, we're getting them ready and all that. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but that is as they get older, you are teaching. Eventually, you will let go of that. I believe you model all your life. You're always modeling for your kids and for your grandkids. And so it's not, so modeling and nurturing, teaching, equipping. And then the last stage of mentoring is coaching and developing. What do I mean by this? Let's think about a coach. We got a baseball picture right there. So the coach teaches them, he plans the drills, the strategies, the tactics, and he practices with them to batting and all of that stuff. But I don't think I've ever seen a coach in the middle of a real game go in and bat or throw a ball or hit a home run. They are in the dugout or on the sidelines coaching along the way. As your kids get older, you need to be a coach, and you need to unfortunately let them fail on some things. And you are walking alongside them, developing that character,
Go ahead. Go over
developing the
there.
parts
Stubborn
of
over
their
there.
life that they need to just go ahead and change some of this so it'll be a lot easier for all of us. He is coaching or she is coaching and preparing the kids and the players for the ball game. You are preparing your kids for the game of life. And we're going to talk about some ways that you can do that. This is age appropriate. I believe modeling starts at a young age. I am still watching my mother. She is 87 years old. And I still watch some of the things she does. One of the things I do, it's some of the things I do as a grandma is because I watch my mom do that with my kids. So it continues. Teaching, I think, is for a time period, and then you let them go. And same with coaching as well. And so I do think it grows. And as you grow, you're going to go through these stages. Leave me a comment right here. Which type of mentoring, stage of mentoring are you in? And are you willing to take whatever stage, and it may be multiple ones, but I would say pick one that you really want to work on this semester and leave something in the chat so I can see where we are. We're in the high school stage. So I would say you're more into that coaching and developing, and you're still modeling. We always model just through our lives. So thanks for sharing, Misty. A better job of modeling and nurturing, modeling and teaching first grade. Very good. Y'all are in some, we got lots of different areas as well. So let me just go ahead and I'm going to give away one of those. Let's see. Right here, China, you have won one of our Don't Worry prayers. If you will send me your email, you can do it here individually, or you can just email that to me, and we will set you up with the Don't Worry prayers. It'll come with you Monday, and my assistant will help get you all that information. For those of you that are just joining us, I am giving away my Don't Worry prayers ebook to various people that put something in the chat. So very good. We got all different ages. We are ready. Well, let me just tell you, you are in the right place if you are a stay-at-home mom who is homeschooling multiple ages or only children, and you got to cook, clean, chauffeur, all the other tasks required of you. You're following that school model and it isn't working. You're overwhelmed and you need a new direction. Maybe you're a working mom. You're trying to balance all your home, your homeschool, and your work and all those duties, whether you're working at home or going somewhere to work. You're looking for ways to manage your time and give your kids the best education possible. Maybe you're a Christian parent. You see and you want Jesus the center of everything in your family and homeschool. And but you're maybe a little stressed out on their attitudes. You're in a good place. And believe it or not, we have lots of grandmas. I don't know if there are grandmas in this class, but I am constantly hearing from grandmas that are homeschooling their kids. They either have partial or full responsibility for their grandkids. Oh, y'all are already putting it. I was wondering what stage, one, two, three, or four are y'all in? We've got some part-time working mom and Christian and one and three. Put something in the chat. Let me know where you are, and so I can sort of talk to those areas as we go through. And as you put that in the chat, some of you know me. Some of you don't. I don't even think I introduced myself Sunday night. So here's a formal education. And I am looking at these chat things. We got staying home, business, running a home business. We got homesteading too. Jamie, you got lots going on. Okay. Um, Oh, work from home dad. Let me go back and see that. Well, hello, Jay. I tend to talk to moms, and I apologize right up front, just because the majority of the people that I individually work with are moms. That is not to say dads can't come join in and learn more about it. My son's best friend growing up, and still one of his best friends, called me a few weeks ago and asked me some homeschooling questions, and I told him about this class. And this week I was looking for something. I was like, Brittany and his wife, they signed up. And so that was sort of exciting. So I know there are dads out there. I'm not excluding you. I just tend to talk to moms as well. All right, thank you. We've got lots of different groups of people. This is my family. Let me use my pointer. This is Ashley. She is married to Jesse. They have Faith right here, and down here, Elizabeth. They live in Austin. She is our oldest. And then we have, and let me just tell you a little bit about them. I forgot. Ashley is willing to do things outside of the box. In fact, she and Steve started an online reloading business when she was in high school. She did all sorts of things. But I remember in fourth grade, she was going to a private Christian school, and there was a worksheet, and there was a picture with a sentence or two at the bottom. The question was, why is George Washington a Christian? And she wrote, I don't know if he is, because I don't know if you believe Jesus died on the cross for his sins. Teacher gave it back, said, do it again. And she wrote something similar. And I said, and the teacher gave it back again. Thinking, well, she's at least using her mind, and she is right. But I said, let's just write what the teacher wants. You see, the picture was the pews in the church, and they were saying that that's why George Washington, that was the answer. Well, that is a result of being a believer, but that isn't why someone is a believer. So she was thinking outside the box, even from the traditional Christian curriculum that was out there. All right, then here's Gentry. This is where I am right now at her house. She's married to Andrew. Here is Landry, and then we have Deacon and little Sloan's over there. She's still wandering around. Deacon hopefully is taking a little quiet time with a nap right now. And they are here in Dallas. Gentry was just sort of our leader. Her friends were always following her, and she was sort of best friends to everyone that she was around. When she was in high school, she played sports in the public school. And she won the Bear Award as a senior in high school, even though she was a homeschooler. She was voted captain, I'm almost positive, junior and senior year in basketball and softball, which was voted on the players and the coaches. So she was gaining those leadership skills as in high school as well. And then we have the baby Hunter. Up until now, I'm always like, there's Hunter. But a couple months ago, he married Brittany. And so we have a little new edition. We got a new baby edition. We got a new adult edition. And so we're all going to be together tomorrow for the 4-year-old. This is Deacon's birthday party tomorrow. So we're excited about that. Anyway, they just got married. Hunter is always asking questions. In fact, at the dinner table, he would raise his hand to ask a question, and then the girls would finally quit talking. And then he'd say, "Oh, never mind," because we were way past whatever that topic was. But he also has done things outside the box. He's definitely an entrepreneur who influences people around him. All of our kids learn ownership skills, meaning I wasn't telling them everything to do every moment of the day. In fact, I remember we were driving to my mom's. It was just Gentry and I one time, and she's like, "Mom, thank you so much for the things you did in high school to prepare me for going to Texas A&M University. My other friends did not know how to study. They didn't know how to manage their time. We did teach our kids to take ownership and to plan their day, especially in high school. We prepared them for life. I didn't want someone who was only a follower and just did what I told them to think for themselves. Now, I'm going to be honest, we don't always agree on everything, but that's okay. We still love each other. I actually, well, I'm not going to go down that rabbit trail. We homeschooled for 10 years. We had our ups and we had some downs. Can y'all relate to that? I really started homeschooling is very haphazard, trying to figure it all out. We got unit studies and Charlotte Mason and classical, and what do I follow? I really don't know. I was a public school teacher. You would think I would know what I'm doing. But about 5 years into it, I discovered something called leadership education. But it wasn't from a Christian perspective. And I actually had moms I was working with, they wouldn't read the book because it wasn't a Christian perspective. So I continued to figure it out on my own for the next 5 years, trying to give my kids a leadership education and give them from a Christian perspective. All right. And so that was challenging. I want to help you so you don't have to figure it out on your own. And this is the beginning step. This is it. We're going to talk about it. Start school right in 2025. Now, oh, it's not moving. There we go. I want you to just imagine, maybe even close your eyes. Can you imagine what it would be like to enjoy homeschooling together without all the attitude from your kids and maybe not all the screens, to grow your relationships with your kids instead of putting out fires, to have peace and confidence that what you are doing is enough and the right activities, to have a clear picture of where you are headed and your kids would turn out okay. We're going to talk about some ideas that might help you. 3 tips to start school right, raising your children. We're going to talk about this, raising your kids to be lifetime learners who love learning with a great attitude for the rest of their life. And a little bonus, we're going to talk about how you can offer you, your family, and your kids freedom. Freedom in your homeschool, then freedom in their adult lives. But if some of you are probably like me, you want to know where we're going. And so here is a little roadmap. We're going to talk about the foundation to start school right in 2025. We're going to talk about 3 tips for moms to start school right and the most important goal in homeschooling and how to achieve it. I've been like repeating this over and over and over all week long in Homeschool Superheroes, and not just me, but I've heard my friends, I've interviewed people. That last thing, don't leave without hearing what the most important goal is in homeschooling as well. So let's take a step back. Foundation to start school right. This was said in 1909. We want one class to have a liberal education. Oh, we got a nice little note. I want you to think about what is a liberal education and put something in the chat as I continue to read this. What is a liberal education? We want one class back in 1909 to have a liberal education. We want another class, a very much larger class, of necessity to forgo the privilege of a liberal education and fit themselves to perform specific, difficult manual tasks. What is a liberal education? Leave something in the chat. I would love to hear what you think a liberal education is, because it seems like this person thinks it is a privilege to have a liberal education. Liberal is not conservative liberal. We're not talking politics. The three R's, that is going to be included. Any other guesses, thoughts? You want to throw something out there? Knowledge education. Very good. Jamie and Hannah, thank you. Think about the word liberal. Where does it come from? Well-rounded buffet. Liberal is liberate. If you liberate someone, you free them. That's what we're going to talk about, freedom. We want one class to have a freedom education. They get the tools of learning, they get the love of learning, they get critical thinking skills, so they are free or liberated from their teacher and they can learn on their own or teach on their own or whatever. That is what a liberal education does. You see, they wanted their kids to have this, but we did not want everyone to. At that time in 1909, we just had the Industrial Revolution. We needed workers. We didn't need thinkers. We needed followers. And this is very well documented. Forgo a freedom liberal education and fit themselves to perform specific difficult manual tasks. That's what we needed. And most people today think an education is to go get a job, and that is not what education is. And so we need to rethink what is education. And, this did not happen in a decade. I think it actually took 3 or 4, I think about the 1950s is when I really see, when I look at the history of education, things start to change. And especially in the 60s, I was a child of the 60s. So who in the world said this? Well, there we go. Woodrow Wilson, he was president of Princeton and then became president of the United States. These people were very intentional with education, especially in the United States. But it didn't just happen here. It was already happening in Prussia and Germany in the 1800s. And that's a whole nother subject. But if you ever look at Charlotte Mason, she was appalled at what was going on in the early to mid 1800s. So what are we talking about with this new education, getting workers? Well, I call it conveyor belt education. You see, we teach our kids what to think. They start at station one, they do all the same activities as everyone else. They get tested the same way, they get stamped approved, and they go to the next station. And they continue down the conveyor belt for 12 stations, 12 years. When they are finished, they get that final stamp of approval and they're sent off to the market, the job market. This is really what traditional education is. Traditional in the last 150 years, not education before 19 or 1800. That was a whole different thing. And we're going to land on what that really is. And hopefully you can give your kids that. Next, we have a professional education that we teach our kids when to think. Go to auto mechanics school. Clunk, clunk, clunk. You do this to the car. Or you go to med school. It right here, I got this problem, a little knot. Oh, when that happens, you do this. Now, I am not comparing a car to a human being at all in value. I'm just saying it is a similar type of education. There are different amounts of thinking and all of that. Professional education is university on the long. It's when to think, and it is people that want, they're preparing for a career. You see, a conveyor belt education just teaches our kids how to follow, to get the basics, to get a job, not much in thinking skills. Professional education, become an expert and then retire. And then the last one is a leadership education. This is where we teach our kids how to think, how to take ownership of our life, of the activities that we are doing, of our education. That was what I wanted for my kids, to take ownership or leadership in their education. They become influencers in their world. Let's just talk about leadership. A leader. What does it mean to be a leader? And yes, these are the first three models of education, Jamie. They are the three models that I'm going to talk about. A leader is influences. John Maxwell said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. They don't have to be CEO. They don't have to be president of the United States. Your kids are going to grow up to be moms and dads, more than likely. So they will become leaders in their own right. And that could be in their family, their community, their church, their business, could be in politics. This is an education that uses classics and is very centered on reading and thinking clearly. So, which model would you like for your kids? Put something in the chat and let me know. And as you do, I have a question I want you to think about because some of you are like, how? With all that curriculum I just bought, check boxes, what if I mess them up? Trying to balance family and life and homeschooling and work and all that clutter around the house. It's driving me crazy. I still need to clean and cook. I'm overwhelmed. Let's talk about this as a lifestyle. It is life. It's not adding something to what you're already doing. Take what you're doing, and it is a process and just a strategy that you can use right now in your homeschool. And we're going to give another one of those. Where's my little, there's my mouse. Another one of these. Let's see. Okay, Jamie, you have another one of our don't worry prayers. I gotta get my paper over here. So if you want to send me your email address and we will get that set up on Monday when we get all our prizes from the whole week set up. So yes, and I think this is a good point. Who said that? McGoffin, I don't probably know your name. I still want them to have confidence, basic and specialized skill sets. You are absolutely right because in order to lead, be in leadership and to think, you got to be able to read, you got to be able to write, you need to think through things. So they are definitely going to have confidence in our basic skills or even some specialized skills and your family values. We're going to talk about freedom. So you get to do that for your own family. All right. So my question is, how does a generation who was not mentored in leadership education give this type of education to the next generation? How do you and I, who know that conveyor belt so well, give our kids a leadership education? And you can send the email address individually to me or by my email as well. Um, so we are going to talk about those three tips right now to start school right. It should have said 2025. I thought I changed all those. Or start school right in your project, your class, your courses. Let's just jump right in and talk with tip number one, which is living books and ideas, using real books and classic books. What's classic? Leave something in the chat. What do you think a classic book is? Because I believe real books build relationships. They build a love of learning, a love of reading, a love of books. We read aloud every day. When I first started, I would read after lunch, and y'all may know what happened. I'd fall asleep and I'd hand the book off to one of the girls to read. And I thought, Carrie, you're modeling that reading puts you to sleep, which it didn't necessarily, but at that time of day, I'd been up for 2 hours before everyone else in the house, and I was tired. And so, I moved it and it was first thing in the morning, the rest of our homeschooling years. And we kept reading aloud even when they were in high school. And y'all feel free to put classic books in here. But I like some of these definitions. Where did it go to? A book that you want to read again. Here you go, Jessica. Very good point. And teach relationships, character, inspire. Our book club is reading Pride and Prejudice this month. Oh my goodness, that's my favorite classic. And I've read it so many times, but pretty much every time I read it, I see something new. A classic is a book that never stops having something to say to you. And you do want to read it again. The greatest classic is the Bible. Feel free to put any classic, maybe your favorite classic, and y'all can share those in the chat as I am chatting along. All right, next, kids' interest. Use books to pursue your kids' interest. If they are interested, they are more likely to read it and more likely to learn. I remember we were going to write a report, and Hunter, I was like, oh, we're studying Roman emperors. Oh, that will be so cool. And he just looked at me like, okay, mom. And then I thought, we just bought a book about Derek Jeter, who's a great New York Yankees shortstop. And the next day I said, what if you write about Derek Jeter? His eyes got big, and he's like, do you think he wrote a better paper about Derek Jeter or if he had written it about a Roman emperor. Does it really matter the topic of what you're reading and writing? No. So follow your kids' interest. That will improve their level of learning and can help change their attitude. I also rotated the types of books that we read because Gentry would listen to pretty much any book. Ashley loved history, and Hunter, water. That was about it. And so I did rotate the types of books we read aloud and the types of books they would read. All right. Another thing you can do with books is develop a personal growth plan, first for you, but then for your high school kids. This is mostly for high schoolers. And I call it's a three-step process. You want to set aside time to learn or time to read your books. Then you want to record what you learn in a reading journal. You want to write down about the book. We're not talking narration, retelling like Charlotte Mason teaches. We are going beyond that to start thinking about it. Compare two characters. What was your opinion about this? Why do you think this happened? And as your kids start, they may need some prompts, but that's okay. And then we want to apply quickly what you learn. And I call this my read, write, discuss method. We're going to read every single day. We're going to write one page in our journal, one page, and it can be a small journal that's like this big. It does not have to be a whole page, whatever size they pick. And then once a week, we would discuss that book. I encourage you, if you've never done this first, you need to do it yourself through at least 3 or 4 books, and then do it with your kids. When you do it with your kids, do it with your read aloud book because everyone's hearing it. Your little kids can do copy work, your middle kids can do narration, and your older kids can do read, write, discuss, and use a reading journal. And you can have a discussion once a year. I mean, not once a year, once a week about that book. So we've got real books, classics. Use it for your kids' interest and personal growth plan. That is tip number 1, living books and ideas. Tip number 2, modeling and mentoring. And I believe this is where you start. A foundation of godly character. If you have a high schooler with bad character, stop the academics. It won't hurt them. And deal with work ethic, perseverance, endurance, patience, graciousness, whatever the problem is. I believe it's important that we develop a foundation of godly character. Warren Bennis is an expert in leadership. I don't know if he's a believer or not, but he said this. I'm going to move me over so I can read this whole thing. Okay. Successful leadership is not about tough or soft, sensitive or assertive, but about a set of attributes. First and foremost is character. That is so true. We need to develop character in our kids. And I think the easiest way to do it is put it on God's shoulders. And when they are dealing with something or you're trying to work through something, find a Bible verse and go to God and use that Bible verse to say, this isn't I'm not telling you to do this. God's telling you to do this. We talked about this morning, Ephesians 4:32. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as Christ in God has forgiven you. Be kind. Memorize the verse. Say it every day. Whatever. And use that verse ahead of time. Pick one and then work on that. Another thing I would encourage you to do is to put on the armor of God. And every day you need to put on the armor of God and pray it for your whole family. And I'm going to take just a moment. Don't really have that much time, but I'm going to do it right now so you can see how simple. And I am not just doing this for an example, I am sincerely praying for every single person that is represented here, your families, your kids, your spouse. Father in heaven, we want our kids to grow up to have godly character, and we know the enemy is attacking and trying to pull them away from walking in righteousness. So, right now, I am praying for each family here that they will put on the belt of truth, and the truth will set them free. They will put on a breastplate of righteousness, walking, doing the right thing, leaving their old self dead and buried in the tomb, and walking in their new self, that they will walk in peace, the shoes of peace, walk in peace with you, with ourselves and with each other, and that our faith would be in Jesus Christ. We will hold up that shield of faith, and our faith would be in Jesus Christ, and that would extinguish all the enemy attacks. and that we will put on the helmet of salvation, protecting our head, protect our mind, our soul, our heart, that we will take every thought captive to obey you and demolish the enemy's strongholds and the human reasoning that is pervasive, and that we will fight our battles with the sword of the Spirit, the Word of God, every day, that every one of us will be reading the Bible, the Word of God. And then finally, we will pray persistently and we will pray in the Holy Spirit. I just lift up the believers around the world, especially persecuted ones, and that you would protect them and they would continue to put on that armor and be a light for you. It's in Jesus' powerful name. Amen. This is something that I began doing. I was challenged about 8 years ago. You get dressed every morning, you don't go outside naked, but you don't put on your spiritual clothes every morning. And so I began doing it in bed before I would get out of bed. I now do it on my walks. I pretty much take a walk every morning. And if I don't, I walk in the house and I pray the armor of God over my family. We need it. The enemy is on attack. And if you are married, if you are raising your kids to godliness, you are raising a godly family, you have, I can't think of the word. Oh my gosh, a target. Not on your back. You got a target, full frontal assault. The enemy is wanting to attack you. You need to protect yourself as well. So, and one thing about this, let me just show this. Oh, forgot that. These are our following God charts, and I'll just show you real quickly. There are three of them. They're all different. This is make peace and argue. There's a verse here, and then there's a place here for you to decide as a family. When kids make peace, here's what happens. When they argue, here's what happens. So you go and you read it, the verse, and then you say, you know what, y'all are arguing. Here's what happens in our household. Anyway, we've got three different ones. There's other stuff that comes with the whole building character toolkit. And I don't know who said this to me, but anyway, she said, I couldn't figure it out how to implement it. I wanted a Christian perspective. Thank you for bringing this all together. All right, modeling and mentoring. Next is a love for learning. And just some leaders are always learning. They are learning for life, reading, paying attention, listening, learning. And I believe this is important. We need to inspire our kids to love learning. It's hard work to inspire our kids to love learning. And I think one of the easiest ways is that love learning and you are enthusiastic about it. I know that my mom loves birds. And so Hunter had gone off to spend a few days there, and he took one of our family friends, Rachel, and they were like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years old, and they found a bird nest in the bush. And they could look over from my mom and dad's deck around their house, and they were watching that. And my mom had birdhouses and song, and they were doing everything. Rachel was into birds. Whenever she'd come up there, she'd talk to my mom. Oh, I think I saw this kind of bird. Anyway, my mom was excited. They were excited about it. Rachel, her mom told me later, she goes, I knew Rachel would do something with animals. Rachel is in her 30s. She works for the National Parks Department and something with birds in California. I don't really know what, but her mom allowed her to pursue that. Her mom was allowed her to get books that she wanted. She told me, she goes, I'd let her get whatever animal books she wanted. You see, when we're excited and enthusiastic, our kids catch on. That's that modeling and mentoring we talked about. More is caught than taught. Let me repeat that. More is caught than taught. They're catching whatever you say. If your kids have mannerisms like you, that's because they are catching how you act and all. All right, let's see. And then modeling and mentoring. The next one is thinking and decision-making skills. We need to model this. You know, you don't have to have a giant discussion with 30 people. If you eat dinner at the dinner table, and I hope you're eating a meal together, you can have a discussion at a table and use your read, write, discuss. Read every day, write every day. Once a week, maybe have a discussion at dinner. Let dad join in as well. Another thing in this thinking and decision-making skills is you can't force your kids to learn. Charlotte Mason says there is no education but self-education. Really, like my little 6-year-old, she loves to read, and I mean, no one's really forcing her to. She thinks it's exciting. And so she continues to read on a regular. I brought two little books because she's into the Junie B. Jones series. And so I found some in my house and brought them. And one of them she had read, and she's like, "Oh, I've been wanting to read that one." And so I'll leave that here for her to read. And so we can't force education. We can force them to remember and memorize things, but as far as true education, it's really all within ourselves as well. And if you are in Homeschool Superheroes, I highly recommend you go listen to Pauline's keynote that we put out today. She addressed this even deeper than I have time to do. Self-education. This is where we take ownership and leadership and we begin to build those thinking and decision-making skills. My kids, when they were in ninth grade, they started planning their week out. Every Monday, I'd meet with them. By January, they had it figured out. They could make decisions about what they were going to do every day based on what our overall plan was that I talked to them about, and they made choices about. Ashley and Gentry took an astronomy course in high school because they were interested in it. And so, give your kids some freedom to do what you want. And also, you have freedom to study the things that are of value to you. Humanities and going through history from a Christian perspective, that was important to us. That's the one required course my kids had to take in high school. So, modeling, mentoring, foundation of character, love of learning for life, thinking, and decision-making skills. Here we go. Relationships over productivity, relationships over checklists. This is a mindset shift that many of us have to make because we grew up in the public schools and we think that academics is everything. I've interviewed Andrew Pudewa. He's told me this several times, but the recent interview is like, academics is not the most important thing in your homeschool. Relationships are. Academics is not the most important thing in any school or education. Relationships, building relationships is what is most important. You see, America is very successful in education. The problem is their goal for education is not what I think true education is. Their goal, think about the Woodrow Wilson, is workers, productivity, check the boxes. Now, I love to check a good checklist, but that is my checklist, not someone else telling me what to do. Whose checklist are you following? And this is something that I really teach to my Raising Leaders moms. I have a course, Raising Leaders, and the whole first part module is all about changing our mindset and getting a good perspective of what education is and getting mom to begin her own education. Another thing on relationships is to relax. I know it's hard, Mom. First of all, get some sleep, but just relax and enjoy your kids. That is what is so important. Do fun things with them. If you are a type A and you gotta have it all written down, then once a week do something fun. And then eventually add another fun thing and start to enjoy your children. Number three, rest in the Lord. Rest in Him. He's going to show you what to do and how to change your perspective on education. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go change everything. I encourage you to change one thing. When I teach Raising Leaders, we got 6 modules, and I am telling them, you don't go change everything. You pick one thing and work on it for a whole semester. One thing. And so that is what I think is important. And then finally, freedom. You have freedom to follow your family values, freedom for you, your family, and your kids to pursue what's important to you in your home education. So get off that conveyor belt and start building good relationships and don't worry about productivity. I believe if you give your kids a love of learning, tools of learning, and critical thinking skills, they're going to have what it takes. There are gaps in every education. When I taught public school, we never finished a textbook. Never finished a textbook. And so there, just remember that. You're going to have gaps. Which ones do you want? I did not want character gaps. I did not want spiritual gaps. And I did not want relationship gaps. So let's take a look at these. 3 tips: live in books and ideas, modeling and mentoring, relationship education over productivity education. Put something in the chat and tell me which one of these um, would be most helpful, or what out of anything that we've said, whose checklist are you following? You are right, Lindsay. Whose checklist are you following? Um, Leave me a chat. Which one of these might be the most helpful? Number three, relationships relate, you know, and that goes for not just family relationships, it's everything. All right, I want to give a one more thing out here. Let's see. I'm trying to go up and down. Who do we have? Oh, okay. There was Lindsay Matthews. She wrote, Yes, the Bible. You have won a copy of our Don't Worry prayers. Write that down. So, all right. Isn't this exciting how you can see how things all start to come together? If so, put something in the chat. Oh my God, 11 new things. Yes, two and three. Very good. All right. I do want to tell you about Cherry, and I'm going to read part of what she's written. She was one of our my moms that went through Raising Leaders, and she was like, Thank you so much. There is very little to nothing available in education that has practical application for homeschooling parents in the areas of mentoring and modeling our kids. And here's what she said. I felt like a lone horse on a deserted trail. Everyone else that I know that homeschools is the conveyor belt to keep up with the public education counterpart. Thank you for being a voice in the desert that will give guidance to as many lone horses that are headed your way. I was like, wow, that is so descriptive. So, thank you, Cherry. Now, at this point, I've got a question for you. Would you like me to help you gain confidence and freedom to give your children a Christian education with leadership education, with leadership skills? If so, put something in the chat. And I see that we've got two options. You can try to create a Christian leadership education plan on your own. I did that back starting in 2000 four or so, three, four, something like that. But you do run the risk of being in the same place this time next year with a big open loop and no plan to give your children the better education that you want for them. Or option number two, door number two or door number one. Where am I? You can 100% commit to focusing on Christian leadership education with a proven plan. If you're ready to build confidence and freedom in your homeschool efforts and follow a proven plan, I invite you to join me inside of Raising Leaders, Not Followers. This is the only leadership education course of its kind from a Christian perspective that you will know exactly how to build godly character, lifetime learners, how you can help your kids to think critically and you think critically, biblically, and make wise decisions as they glorify Jesus Christ. Who is this? Oh, yes, this is Angie. This was COVID year. Let me just tell you, Angie homeschooled her kids for a year, and she's like, I am never doing that again. And yet she had a child that really needed to homeschool. He had some bullying issues when he was back in the school, and she was like, I guess I can do it again. I did it once, but I don't really want to. So she starts researching, and she's like, Carrie, because we talked about this. It was a God thing. I have no idea how I found you. It was a God thing. And as I saw more of what you did, I thought, this is the lady I want to follow. You see, she went from never wanting to homeschool again to having a plan and having the tools that she could do that actually work and give her the freedom to make it work within her homeschool. And she said, if I'm going to homeschool, I want it to be leadership education. And she had what she needed to move forward so that it's effective. So let's just take a quick look. I'm going to go as quickly as possible. I'm not reading all those things. You can skim through some of those. Those are some of the things that we're going to go over. But module one is our 5-step formula for Christian leadership education. It is a fast track to being intentional and purposeful with your kids and with your education, with your homeschool, without pulling out your head. And it goes from preschool all the way to 12th grade. Next, character is foundation. And we're going to dump that bad attitude and begin afresh with a new attitude, starting with the number one most important quality a leader must have. Then we're going to talk about inspire your kids to learn. These are all weekly modules, and we are going to help you absolutely nail it to make learning fun so your kids don't even know that they're learning. We're going to talk about the tools of learning to make lifetime learners. Jump off that conveyor belt, the public school system, and discover tools of learning. These have been used for centuries. We're going back 2,000 years to what really, really works. Then we want to talk about thinking skills for our leaders. How to help your child write about a book and they have no idea what to write. How for you to lead a discussion when you don't have an English major or degree. And then six, graduate kids with decision-making skills for life. I highly recommend moms go through this. And if you have teenagers, after you've gone through it, you go through it with your kids, with your teenagers, because there's some great things to actually talk about that. And so um, then finally, we have 3 weeks of implementation with live coaching. One of my leaders, Rose, one of our students, she said, Carrie uses so many real life stories I can relate to. I'm a visual learner, so I had videos and I had PDFs I could print out. I put them in a 3-ring binder, and I always had access to them. And I wasn't ready for all of it. And I got lifetime access. So the next year I could go back and watch the videos that actually pertain to me or rewatch ones that I really needed to brush up on. Now, I will tell you the value of that is $197, but we want to offer some bonus gifts, help for the harried homeschooler. If you are harried, that is what we need to do. Schedules, lists, printables, classic book lists. We've been talking about classics. We've got 3 lists for children, for teenagers, and adults, and these are fantastic books. And we're not just talking 10. There are tons of books on each list. Finally, we already talked about this, and I think who this was that said this. iPhone Tennessee, lifetime access. Laura said, Laura was great. She said, raising leaders, not followers, completely changed my mindset, my routine, and my kids are loving their new teacher. She just changed the way she homeschooled. And then bonus gift number 4, this is where it all started. It started with this ebook that I wrote, Racing Leaders, Not Followers. And that goes through what leadership education is, character building, love of learning, and then transitioning to teach your children how to think with mentoring. That goes through all the read, write, discuss. It goes through internships before. Do we go to college? Do we not? Do we get a job? What do we do to move on? And then this is our book that you can only get in the course, Hop Off the Conveyor Belt, real life tips and tricks from homeschoolers. And we go through all the different modules, and there are different real life stories of things that moms have done in those different areas as well. Um, let's see. And then next, you need to know somebody like, oh, no, I know some of you, these things become an investment. So we do give a risk-free guarantee. It's a money-back guarantee, but I'm not really looking for tire kickers. I'm looking for people that are serious action takers, just like you. If you got on this call, you made time to do a better job with your homeschool and figure out the best way to do that. And so what I do is you have access for 2 weeks once we start the course, and you do the work and you say, this is not a good fit. You tell me, show me that work, and then I will happily refund it because I am not going to hold anyone, chained to this course. I want to help you. I have seen it help mom and family after family after family. I've just told you a few stories. With this guarantee, it means you can't really lose. Another thing Holly had said, she's a reviewer of different curriculum, and she said she loved the way it had age level appropriate things, especially for large families as well. So here's the course, everything in it. There's the value. We also add some special bonuses, our 4 weeks of live coaching. That starts a week from Monday. That is the first day you start module 1, and we will do a group coaching with everyone there. And that way you get to see if the coaching is even something that is helpful to you as well. And so, and then what we do is we do module 1 1 week, module 2, and we take a break. And that's our group coaching. That is catch up if you're behind or implement something if you're on track. Helen lives in England. We got on the call. We got on several calls, and she said the most helpful parts of raising leaders were the videos and PDFs and the live group coaching. I could get my questions answered quickly in the coaching calls. In fact, I remember a coaching call. She ended up being the only one there, and we just spent an hour talking about her homeschool. Now, I'm not saying that's the way it always is, but I am there first to answer your questions and then to give you some tips and tricks about really doing this practically. Oh, here's that. I didn't know where that was. Okay, and then we have quit trying to homeschool, start training for success. Too many were, I'm trying. Well, we're going to teach you how to train for success. Then Andrew Pudewa has a talk. It's an interview. Many of you struggle with teaching writing, so I put from copy work to composition. And then I have 7 homeschooling scheduling tricks, daily, weekly, annual. And this is very practical things that you can do. Plus, I know this is Homeschool Superheroes Week, but in February, that's my second annual event. This is all about life skills and leadership. The whole thing, we run 2 tracks, and you can get a VIP trip ticket to, I was supposed to say 2006, and those are the wrong dates. I had the right dates on the website. I forgot to change it here. Anyway, that you'll get a VIP ticket with all the swag bag, the instant access, lifetime access to everything. Now, if you are a fast action mover and you decide, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to change it from today to 24 hours. You've got 24 hours till tomorrow. And if you invest, I'm going to give you the Human Body Systems Activity Pack Bundle. And I know sometimes you go, oh, that's just for elementary kids. Let me tell you, the reproductive system is not for elementary kids. And so there are some things for junior high and high school. The human fertilization is what she calls it. I had someone write this up for me. You get 7 of these. It's worth $70. And this is another way. There's some fun little games and some activities in there as well. Then this is the whole course. Oh my goodness, something happened. I got some words in there. So there's the whole course. It's really worth $1,500. I made a mistake. I tried to edit all of this about 15 minutes. I thought I went through every slide. But I know for some of you, you're going, oh, there's no way I can afford all of that. And you are right, because I know you're serious about this. And so what I want to do for you is you can get this. It's a one-time investment of $197. You can go to howtohomeschoolmychild.com/RLNF. Or it is 4 payments of $54 as well. And I forgot to give y'all my free thing. Let me go grab that. Where is it? Let me get back on the right thing. Some of y'all have stuck around. I told you that I was going to, people that were here live actually get, well, there we go. Here is the link to the games book that I forgot to give out. And so, wow, Jamie, you are so generous. Okay, there's the games book. Let me pull up my, there we go. There's the whole screen. I will tell you that anyone that invests in this and pays all of it outright, I'm going to give you my Drama Free Mom Bundle. This is something that I've had moms say has really helped them transition into off that conveyor belt. In fact, Diane, she was one of my founding members years ago. She goes, I already own this, but this is what you need to give. And she said it quickly changed my public school mindset of and daily routines to make my family's weekly homeschool schedule run a lot smoother. So you get an ebook, you get a couple videos, and no, a video and 3 videos, 2 videos and an audio. You can see those right there. Anyone that actually invests right now, I'm going to give you even a bigger bonus, $10 Amazon gift card. You may go, I don't know, but you know what? If you go to Dover, you can find a classic book for your kids to start critical thinking skills, or for your read aloud, or your own education. There are actually some fun little thinking skill toys, learning toys that you could get as well. So anyone that actually invests while we're still on this class, you're going to get a $10 Amazon gift card. So there is the whole package. You can look at all of this, and you can go to howtohomeschoolmychild.com/RLNF. I'm going to type that into the chat so that it's clickable. Except I forgot to change something. I forgot. Don't use that. At least for right now. I will change it to that, but go to one that says RLNF 25. That's what I did this morning. Then I forgot to change it when I changed it on my slides. So now I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not exactly why you showed up today, but I would like you to think about that. Maybe you feel stressed out, pulled in so many directions, and you want to simplify your life. The thing about leadership education is you can take something you've already invested in and then you just add, rewrite, discuss, or you just add, and I shouldn't say add, you just start to use that for your readings, for your books, or you use some tools of learning, you use some love of learning activities and integrate them into what you're already doing. Um, Maybe your kid's attitude is driving you crazy and you really need to get a hold of character building. Or maybe you just think, I've got to get something better. I want my kids to be prepared as adults. This is what you can do to help you. I want you to remember why you showed up today. And by now, I'm sure some of you have written in the chat, you can see how raising leaders will help bust through the sticking points that have stopped you in the past from hopping off that conveyor belt of public schools. Your fear of failing your own children because you're unsure of what really works in homeschooling. But if you still haven't signed up for Raising Leaders Not Followers, you've got some doubts. Get that thing over there. There you go. Maybe you're thinking, well, I can just create my own plan. And I hear you. That's exactly where I was in 2004 or 2003. It took me years, I mean, years to actually formulate a plan. I want you to rest assured the steps that we are offering in this course will take you by the hand from kindergarten to 12th grade, steps at each of those levels, and focusing on what's most important during those years. Critical thinking is good, but really in those younger years, you want to get them to love learning and you want to start giving them the tools of learning, how to read, how to write, those kinds of things. And then for some of you, I know you're thinking, I can't spend the money, and I hear you. But I would like to just sort of take a step back and consider this perspective. Let's say you only have one child still left at home, and you've got 4 years. That's less than $50 a year that you are investing to give them an education, to get them out of that conveyor belt mentality, to get you out of that conveyor belt mentality. Most of you have more than one kid left at home. You've got many kids and many years. And if you took it and divided into those number of years and number of kids, it's going to be minimal per child per year. And so I think you could help them grow up and become kids that can think for themselves and make wise decisions as adults through the things that we are teaching in this class. And as you've heard from some of the other people. And you might think, well, this is probably a lot of fluff. I will tell you right now, I started this course. It was a mess. I know it was 15 years ago, but I redid it about 2018. And every video was an hour long. And I mean, it would take forever to get through it. And I really just pared it down. I got rid of it wasn't that it was fluff, it was just things you didn't need. So that every week you're having 2 or 3 videos, except for week one, which has five steps. And the videos are 5 to 10 minutes long. They are not long. And then the PDF, if you can allocate an hour a day to working on this, you can easily work through the course and start to implement some of this on a regular basis in your homeschool. So there we go. Here we are, friends. It's time to answer all your burning questions. I'm going to open it up to you to ask anything that you're wondering about. In the meantime, if you do want to do this, the link is there and you can get that thing back over here. If you have questions, put them here in the chat and I would be happy to answer them. I know some people have sent them individually. Some people uh, emailed a few things. So let me just turn this off. Okay. Who is this? I think Lindsay. Trying to get out of survival mode as well as taking off for summer for the first time and not so great on routines, and I will just tell you, this isn't going to say day one, two, three, four, and five. I actually think those curriculums that tell you every day what to do, that is what burdens you, that is what pressures you, and that is what overwhelms you because you don't have much freedom and you feel like you have to do it. And most of us feel like we got to check the boxes. I was visiting with a dad who they don't homeschool anymore, but he says, and he was a chef, and he'd come home at night after dinner time, and the kids were still working on school like all day long. That is way too long. You should be finished by noontime. With little kids, you should be able to do that in an hour or 2 hours. That is it. Shouldn't take that long. Where is the help for the Harried Homeschooler book? That is in the course, Kirsten. And so it really doesn't make much sense unless you have the course, because it is specifically geared towards the things that we do in raising leaders, not followers. So that is a good question as well. Any other questions? Put them in the chat. One of the questions that I've gotten is, do I need to buy anything else? You know, sometimes people sell you a course and then they're like, oh, you got to do this. Trainings? No, you're going to get everything you need. And you've heard some of these moms. I didn't even read all the testimonials that moms have wrote for me, but you can you don't need to buy any other trainings. Now, I will tell you, some of you, we do read books, and so it's up to you. Do you want to go to the library or do you want to buy it? That's your choice. And supplies, like we encourage hands-on learning. You might need some paint and some colors and some poster board and some of things like that. I just say go to Dollar Tree or Walmart and get those kinds of things as well. And so if you are going to get something extra, those are the types of things that you would need to buy. Um, Okay, and another one of our questions is, do I have to buy it right now? That's a really important question. You don't have to buy it today, but I will tell you, we close the doors a week from today, next Friday. Why do I close the doors? Because I give group training, and I don't want people coming in at all different times. When we have week 3 group training, we're going over modules 1 and 2, and everyone that's in the course has gone over modules 1 and 2. And so we're all familiar with what's in it. If I were constantly doing it, everyone would be coming and going at different times. And so it's a way that I can sort of keep my brain straight and not be overwhelmed. And so, and then it's all dripped at a certain time. So every Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you will, around 9 o'clock, you'll get an email saying, hey, module 1 is in your member area. And so you can go and check that out and work through it through the week. So you don't have to buy it now. There are some extra bonuses if you buy here on the masterclass or if you buy by tomorrow. And that is our fast action bonus, our human body ones as well. So another question I just saw individually sent to me, what if I am going to be out of town some? Not a problem. Remember that lifetime thing? You've got lifetime access. And so if you miss something, you can just come back and do it. All our group coaching is recorded, excuse me, and is put in to your member area. And so there'll be a module for group coaching, and you can go and catch up on any group coaching. If you're going to be out of town for group coaching, guess what? You can still submit your questions, and we can all talk about whatever that question is. That's the thing about group coaching. And not just me, some of y'all may have some better answers about things as well. So I would really encourage you. Excuse me. Got something right here. Um, Anyways, group coaching, you can submit your questions ahead of time, even if you can't be there for the group coaching. So, any other questions? Oh, here we go. Sorry. I love the idea of adding read, write, discuss to what we are doing. Critical thinking is important. And I will tell you, when we go through that critical thinking module or the book, Teach Your Children How to Think with Mentoring, we dive deep into how do you help your kids write a reading journal? What kind of questions do you help them with? What are the things that you do to model and mentor so that they are going to be more successful and they will start thinking more for themselves when they are reading books? And then we talk about how do you lead a discussion? Because most people lead a discussion the wrong way. I'll just tell you, they make the number one major mistake on discussion leading. And so we talk about those kinds of things and how you can overcome that and how you can lead a discussion where there's actually a discussion and not a lecture. So Let's see what else we have. I was going back up because I saw, bought the drama-free mom bundle the other day and excited to dive in. Thank you, Hannah. That's exciting. This is an insane discount. You are really generous. I'd like to go into the course from you. Oh, did you, Sarah? I was thinking your name sounded familiar, and I was thinking that you got that in the past. So, yes. Yeah, I got a new thing right here. We offer Racing Leaders class another time this school year. The next time generally that we offer it will be in the springtime. So this is sort of, although we're starting in the summer, I call it my fall class, and the next time will be in the spring during actual springtime. So just so you know, it's not open year round. It's only open for a week at a time. So let's see what else. Good questions. Very good questions. Well, I'll be really honest. I just am here hopefully to help you. I know what it took me to get to this point and how many different approaches I had to go through. I really feel like this is sort of an integration of unit study, classical, Charlotte Mason, unschooling, but with a purpose and intention to pay attention to what God is calling you to do, to follow your calling, and to raise your kids to think for themselves and to be able to make wise decisions as well. And Sarah, for the most part, if you have access to it, I don't know when we upgraded, if you upgraded with us or what, but I do know that once you take our new version of Raising Leaders, Not Followers, you are invited to all our group coachings. So that's another bonus I don't really talk much about. So once you sign up, like the people in the summertime, they are invited. And I know there was a lady this summer that would come to group coaching that signed up a year ago and was just ready to really dive into it as well. My pleasure, Crystal. Thank y'all for being here. I'll send some emails out as far as the links, and we will get those links fixed so that it has the correct link in the email. All you'll have to do is click on it. So thank y'all for spending time with me. I will see y'all later. Carrie back with Racing Leaders, Not Followers.